Thank you for staying tuned. South African lender Standard Bank plans to cut around 1,200 jobs and close 91 branches as part of efforts to digitize its retail and business bank. South Africa's lenders, like others around the world, have been shuttering branches and trimming their headcount in an attempt to cut costs and adapt to customers' growing preference to bank online or on their mobile phones, as well as sprawling branch and its networks and large workforces exceeding 50,000 at Standard Bank. South African lenders are grappling with a stagnant economy where consumers have reined in borrowing amid high debt levels and other strains on their income. Well, joining us now to look at how the investing public is taking this announcement by Standard Bank, as well as other development in South African economy, is our South African correspondent, Becky Mele. Good afternoon, Becky. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
So job cuts are very sensitive in South Africa, where unemployment stands at about 27%. How are the investing public taking the announcement by Standard Bank to cut around 1,200 jobs?
Well, there has been a bit of mixed feelings about this issue because, obviously unemployment is high at the moment. But then a lot of people were just, commenting that, people don't really go into banks anymore. People always end up at the ATMs if they do go closer to the banks, but people always just prefer their banking done online. But then people were arguing that, okay, why not train the people somehow and lift them up inside instead of cutting all those jobs? But then some other people, especially the younger people, are very discouraged and disappointed by this because it seems like they will suffer the most, and they fear that other banks might also follow suit, and there'll be less and less and less jobs in the banking systems.
Now, do you see this springing up any protest by South African Finance Trade Union?
Most possibly. Because, as I said before, the trade unionists have been voicing out their opinions, especially when it comes to employment or unemployment in this case. So unemployment is high right now, and this is just adding more to unemployment, even though it seems like a good technological advancement where you are improving the system by, making life easier for people where they can do all their transactions in the comfort of their own home. But there is no alternative for the people who are working there. There's no alternative to say, okay, since you're already in the system, since you're already doing that, this is what you can do in the meantime. So cutting off and retrenching all those people obviously will just spark off a lot of protesting in the country.
All right, in another development, Eskom has stepped up its power cut again because of some faults on its plant. What's the situation at the moment?
Well, early this morning, Eskom announced that they will be implementing stage 4 load shedding today. Already in some parts of the country, there was no electricity from 8 in the morning, and this will go on until late in the evening, late at night, around 11 p.m. So a lot of businesses and a lot of out of electricity right now, so it's different portions of the country. But as the day goes on, up to 11 at night, there will be darkness in most of the places in the country.
All right, can you give us an outlook for next week?
Next week, as we can see, the markets are doing quite well, especially with the rands gaining strength this morning compared to the way it was during the week. US dollar this morning, where the rand now currently stands at 14.8 against the dollar, which previously, just yesterday, by close of business day yesterday, it was at 14.54. So you can see that it is gaining a bit of strength. But then, there are other factors that we need to take into consideration, like what is going on with the former Minister of Finances that are busy doing the state capture inquiry interviews. We are seeing new evidence coming in, and a lot of investors are not quite happy, and they are very skeptical about this because the economy keeps going up and down because there's uncertainty as to who is the main culprit and who is to trust in this current economic climate. So by next week, because today the former deputy minister is actually currently being interrogated right now, being cross-examined at the state capture. So after the closure of business today, we'll see what happens as from Monday during the week. But as far as today, the rand started off very strong, and the JSE Consumer Index is also started very positively. The stock exchange top 40 index went up to 0.35%, and also the investment portfolio went up.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Becky Mele. I will sincerely apologize for that poor audio output there. And for update from the Nigerian equities market, Temple joins us now from the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Hello, Temple. Good afternoon. A very quick one. How is the news on the February inflation figures being taken by the market? At intraday, it was marginally down. How are the numbers at the moment?
Well, the market is still down. We're still down some 0.30% a few minutes ago when we checked, and that's been driven by sell-off rather on the banking names and, of course, the consumer goods segment of the market. These are two key sectors of the market that have been realizing so much of bargain hunting, and, of course, at some point you see a bit of sell-off or reduction in holdings in it. Axis Bank numbers came in this morning from that sector, the banking segment of the market. And they posted or announced some 528 billion naira worth of gross earnings and 94 billion naira in profit. It's something that is a bit impressive, but it disappointed quite a number of traders and investors in terms of the dividends payments. There was an interim dividend paid earlier, 25 kobo, and for the final being announced alongside these audited financial statements is another 25 kobo, which is to be paid in moment from sometimes soon, basically. But then the point is that the numbers are impressive. There was a boost in interest income for Axis Bank. There was also a boost in terms of investment income, which means things like treasury bills, investments in bonds, investments and FX transactions, all paid off eventually. However, there was a decline in the loans and advancement segment of the numbers, and that's an area that a lot of investors are hoping that the bank will be able to work more on when the merger with Diamond Bank take place. One other thing, or one other point to note for Axis Bank 2018 calendar year is the fact that there was a 50% reduction in its impairments charges, and these are basically the highlights of Axis Bank numbers. But the dividend side of things, I think, is what actually disappointed quite a number of investors. Chimeze.
Well, Temple, we can now confidently say, thank God, it's Friday. Well, let's be optimistic for a better trading next week.
Absolutely.
And finally on the program, a Kenyan court has ruled that a cap on commercial bank interest rates is unconstitutional. The court, however, suspended the implementation for 12 months to allow Parliament to re-examine the law. Lawmakers capped interest rates at 4 percentage points above the central bank's benchmark in 2016, saying they were concerned about high levels, but that has led to a private credit squeeze, as banks say it forced them to cut back on loans to high-risk groups. And that's a wrap on the program for today and, of course, for the week. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi. You're welcome.